In this deep dive, we're going to be exploring the 7 steps of story structure. Yeah, even if you aren't like writing the next blockbuster or anything,
Right.
understanding this framework can totally change how you experience any story, from epic films to, believe it or not, everyday life.
It's fascinating because these steps aren't just some random formula. They actually mirror the natural stages of growth we see in the world all around us.
Okay, so let's break down the first step.
Okay.
Weakness and need. So our hero isn't perfect.
Right.
They've got flaws holding them back. But why is it so important that they aren't even aware of these weaknesses at the beginning? What's the thinking behind that?
Well, it's all about discovery. If the hero already knows their flaws, where's the journey? Where's the surprise for us as the audience?
Yeah.
The power of a story lies in watching the hero uncover those weaknesses and grapple with them. Take Frank in The Verdict. He's drowning his sorrows in booze, clearly a psychological weakness.
Yeah.
But he's also using people for money, pointing to a deeper moral flaw. He's blind to both. And it's through the events of the story that he's forced to confront these issues.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And it ties into what the source calls moral need, right? This idea that the hero's internal struggles impact how they treat others, not just about fixing themselves. It's about the ripple effect of their actions.
And the source even gives this cool 7 steps technique for creating a moral need. It shows writers how to connect those internal flaws to the hero's actions, how strengths can even become weaknesses.
Interesting.
You see this beautifully in The Godfather. Michael starts off wanting to distance himself from the family business,
Right.
seeing himself as above it all. But that moral high ground becomes his downfall as he gets sucked deeper into the criminal underworld.
Okay, so we've got our flawed hero. Now let's talk about what drives them.
All right.
Desire. It's the goal, the
Right.
thing they're chasing,
Yeah.
and what hooks us as the audience. But how is desire different from need? Aren't they kind of the same thing?
They're definitely linked, but there's a key distinction.
All right.
Need is about internal transformation, while desire is the external pursuit.
Okay.
Think of it like this, and I love this analogy from the book.
Yeah.
A lion needs to eat to survive. That's internal.
Okay.
But it desires to catch a specific antelope. That's the goal, the thing driving the action.
So it's not enough to just have a hero with a goal. They need a deeper need driving them, something that will ultimately lead to that internal change. And this is why some stories fall flat, right? They might have exciting chases or battles, but without that inner struggle, it's all surface level.
And the source makes this point.
Yeah.
You can't just start a story with desire alone.
Right.
Without that underlying need, the ending won't feel earned or satisfying. Think about Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
The desire is clear that bring Ryan home.
Right.
But the real heart of the story lies in Captain Miller's internal struggle with the cost of war.
Right.
His need to find meaning in the chaos.
That's such a powerful example.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about how those internal struggles are what make characters relatable.
Totally.
We might not be fighting on a battlefield,
You're right.
but we all have those inner conflicts, those needs we're trying to meet.
Now moving on to step 3,
Okay.
the opponent.
All right.
It's tempting to think of this as a simple good versus evil battle.
Right.
But the source reframes this concept in a fascinating way.
Okay.
It's not always about defeating a villain. It's about competition for the same goal.
So it's more nuanced than just hero versus bad guy.
Exactly.
Give me an example of how this plays out.
Think about a detective story.
Okay.
The detective wants to solve the case,
Right.
but the criminal wants to get away with it. They both have the same objective, proving their version of the truth. And the conflict comes from that clash of realities.
Right.
It's not necessarily about morality. It's about whose perspective will win out.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
So the key is to find the deepest level of conflict, right? And this applies to any genre,
Yeah.
not just detective stories.
Right.
Like in Star Wars, Luke's opponent isn't just Darth Vader.
Yeah.
It's the entire empire,
Right.
representing the corrupt power he needs to overthrow.
Exactly.
Wow.
The source emphasizes that finding that deep level of conflict is what makes the opponent truly compelling.
Okay.
It's not just about physical battles. It's about ideologies, clashing wills, colliding. It's what keeps us on the edge of our seats.
Okay, so our hero has a weakness, a burning desire, formidable opponent. What's next?
Step 4, the plan. It's the hero's strategy, the roadmap for overcoming that opponent and achieving their desire. But plans can be simple or incredibly intricate.
Like in those heist movies where they spend half the film mapping out every detail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The complexity of the plan can really add layers of suspense and intrigue. And the source uses a great example from Chinatown.
Okay.
Jake gets meticulously piecing together the clues, trying to uncover the truth about the water conspiracy. His plan drives the entire narrative forward.
And on the other end of the spectrum, you have something like Hamlet.
Right.
Where the plan is more about revenge and exposing the truth.
Yeah.
But it's still a driving force behind the play's action. So whether it's a meticulously crafted heist or a quest for revenge, the plan gives the hero direction and purpose.
And it keeps us engaged, wondering if they'll succeed, if they'll have to adapt, or if the plan will ultimately backfire. Which, speaking of backfiring, leads us to step 5.
Uh-oh.
The battle.
Okay, this is where it all comes to a head, right?
Okay.
A climactic showdown where the hero confronts the opponent and the winner takes all.
But as the source reminds us, battles aren't always about physical combat.
Right.
They can be verbal showdowns, psychological battles, or even strategic maneuvers.
Interesting.
Think about the epic battle in the Odyssey, where Odysseus fights off the suitors. It's pure action, a fight for survival.
Right.
But then you have a film like The Verdict, where the battle takes place in the courtroom. It's all about words, persuasion, and uncovering the truth.
So the battle is the culmination of everything that's come before it.
Yes.
That moment of truth where the stakes are highest and we see what the hero is really made of. It's why these scenes are often the most memorable parts of a story, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The battle pushes the hero to their limits, forcing them to face their fears and make difficult choices.
Okay.
It's where their true character is revealed.
Okay, so we've had the big showdown.
Yeah.
Now what happens after the dust settles?
That's where step 6 comes in.
Okay.
Self-revelation.
Got it.
This is the hero's aha moment, brought about by the intensity of the battle. And this revelation can be both psychological and moral. It's about seeing oneself honestly, understanding how their actions impact others, and coming to terms with the consequences of their choices. And this is a really important point from the source.
Okay.
The hero shouldn't spell this out for us. Show, don't tell.
So no big speeches about what they've learned? How do we know the hero has truly had this revelation?
It's all about subtlety. Their actions, their choices, their demeanor, all of these things should reflect that internal shift. And the source highlights 2 contrasting examples. Rick in Casablanca and Jake in Chinatown. Rick, through his selflessness, experiences a positive self-revelation, rising to a higher level. Jake, on the other hand, falls into despair.
Okay.
His cynicism confirmed by the events of the story. Their revelations shape their destinies for better or for worse.
And this all ties back to the hero's initial need, right? Their self-revelation is the culmination of that internal journey. It's why that first step is so crucial. It sets the stage for this moment of growth and change.
Yeah. Now, after the battle and the self-revelation, we reach the final step.
Okay.
Step 7, new equilibrium.
Got it.
The world settles back into a sense of normalcy. But our hero is forever changed by their experiences.
So it's not just about returning to the status quo.
Right.
It's about how the hero has been transformed by their journey.
And this new equilibrium reflects the lasting consequences of the story. The hero might emerge stronger, wiser, like John McClane in Die Hard, or they might be broken, destroyed, like Oedipus and Oedipus Rex.
Right.
The source uses these examples to show how those final moments leave us with a sense of closure, but also a lingering question.
What's that?
How will the hero navigate this new reality?
And how those consequences ripple outward, impacting the world around them.
Exactly.
It's why those final scenes can be so impactful, leaving us with a sense of hope, despair, or even just a quiet understanding of the complexities of life. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And until next time, keep exploring and keep telling your story.